Hey everyone, and welcome to Brad the DM, Session 1, the Barnroom Brawl. Basically, like I said before, this series is just going to be following my trial campaign as I come up with like different small missions for the party to undertake. I'll go through them with my trial party, give you a quick play-by-play on how that went, some of the things that I utilize, from the books, the stat blocks, etc. In case you're like, that sounds like a decent idea to use for my campaign, whether it's, in the beginning or somewhere random in the middle of it. Because like I said, I just want to get these ideas out there, and hopefully, they're good and interesting for people to use, or maybe people see these and are like, hey, you know what, Spread, I'd like to try and coordinate with you and get a group together so we can play through some of these things and see how it goes for us. So yeah. So basically, this video is going to be divided up into a quick couple of sections. The first part, the DM setup. Basically, I just give you the quick setup for the mission. I build the scene. I establish all the outside stuff that's going on. And then I get to a certain point where I cut off for players getting involved. Basically, what I decide to do with the party, as we go through this mission. And then basically, just some final, basic ideas that I pulled from this that I realized, could work, could be interesting, some tweaks, some modifications, etc., etc. Based on what I did, or other things that I could have done, but didn't get the opportunity to because of how I decided to play through this. So, yeah. So let's begin with the DM setup. Alright everyone, as this is the introduction for, this campaign, let's allow me to build a small scene for you. Alright, so imagine, planet's not unlike our own. It's got oceans, it's got land, etc., etc., and we'll zoom in on this planet. I know, guys. We got to start somewhere, and I figure the establishing that it's on a planet and stuff is a good way to go. Okay, so we'll zoom into one of the continents. It's shaped like a piece of land and stuff. And okay, I don't have all the details figured out. I'm kind of adding on to this as we go, so just bear with me on this one. But yeah. But anyway, we start to zoom in on one of the, land masses that seems to be a continent. And, as we keep going closer and closer, we do eventually see, a small country road. Basically, just twisting, turning through some pretty leveled, plains, lowlands, with a couple, decent-sized hills, cropping up every so often. No particular reason, nothing very large. And we'll note that these plains are, kind of in the center of a few other major landmarks. To the north, we have, a larger ocean and a port town. To the east, we have the mountains, basically. To the south, and the southeast, we have, again, more plains, but also to the southeast, we have some, mining operations, like dwarves and such, etc. And to the east, is basically the domain of, those who like to live in the mountains. So we've got orcs, we've got dragons, storm giants in general. Some things, etc., etc. And then to the west, we have basically the forests. For those who like to live there. So elves, furbolg, other things, etc. But anyway, our camera just quickly zooms in downward toward, one of those hills that seems not too far from, a small lone cabin. Well, small lone farmhouse, sorry. We see one, cloaked, shadowy figure, just looking at the house, just kind of assessing it. And then he nods to himself like, yeah, this place will do. And then he goes back down to the hill to his 5 companions and tells them about the place. And, for the camera, cuts away, you know, we see that some of these men seem to be, you know, like pulling out swords and knives and other materials, and they definitely don't look very well put together. Like, not very good guys. Anyway, with that, we'll jump cut to, you know, we'll cut back to the cabin, you know, and we'll just zoom in, you know, eventually going through the front door, and we'll see, you know, a group of people gathered together. Basically, you know, this is the point where where the players establish who they are and what they're doing in this place. You know, just giving me ideas to go off of, etc., etc. But, for this, you know, I'll establish what I'm having my party do, and then we'll go from there. Basically, we can see two gentlemen in the kitchen. One, you know, is an older human gentleman, probably 50s, maybe closer to 60-ish. You know, he seems to be at the kitchen sink, you know, just washing up some dishes. And really quick, I don't know all the stuff of, like, plumbing and whatnot for, like, you know, the D&D world, so just bear with me on, oh, hey, they can use sinks and have tubs and da-da-da-da-da. Like, I don't know how that works. And also, if there's anything that doesn't seem consistent, let's just say magic. Can we accept that? Right, but anyway, you know, an older gentleman. And he seems to be, you know, basically drying off the dishes, while a second gentleman and a shorter gentleman, I believe red hair, red beard, all that stuff, you know, in a white robe, with a small, like, apron tight on the front so he doesn't get, you know, his shirt, tunic, attire messed up. Seems to be, you know, rinsing the dishes off and then passing them over. And they seem to be talking. You know, and camera just lightly turns around just to show you the rest of the layout of the building. Basically, you know, we've got the stairs leading up to the second floor, you know, presumably where bedrooms are. We've got, you know, a small fireplace, just, you know, crackling nicely, quietly. And we have a couple of other people established in the room as it is. You know, one is a tall, slightly greenish colored man. Don't worry, he's not sick. You know, he seems to be just strumming lightly on, you know, a lute, you know, trying to find the right notes for a song that he's been working on. You know, nothing too serious, just, you know, casual. And then, you know, keep turning, and we see, you know, a small, short, I believe pink-haired noblewoman, you know, who seems to be just poring over her notebook, you know, just making little scribbles and double-checking things and just, you know, pondering. And then we also see one last person sitting in the room at the same table as the noblewoman. And this person is a bit shocking, and honestly kind of surprised we didn't see this person first. A large dragonborn, in basically mostly brown tunic, you know, with some, I forget what color the trim was on it, you know, and basically it seems like the two were just having some small conversation, and the gnome was taking notes because that's her nature. And also the gnome woman's name is Ash, basically. And the Dragonborn's name is Fang. Again, she's female Dragonborn, you know, just casually talking about herself and stuff like that. When suddenly, you know, there comes, you know, a brief knock at the door. You know, hopefully that did not mess up my camera. You know, the gentleman from the kitchen, you know, peeks in and says, "Hey, can one of you get that for me?" You know, and Fang nods, and she stands up and is about to go to the door when it's just booted in. Like, you know, the door just slams backward on its hinges. And in enters, you know, one of those gentlemen that we saw before. You know, we can see them very well, but basically, you know, this is a normal human guy, brown, messy hair, unlike mine, and he seems to be wearing an eye patch. You know, and he has a few cuts, you know, on his face and cheeks. You know, and he's got, you know, a sack in one hand, you know, and, you know, a dagger in the other. Nothing too sinister. Like, obviously it's not very nice, but it's not like, oh no, like, intimidating. And he looks to everyone in the room and he's like, well, 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 looks like we hit the jackpot here, didn't we? Alright, you lot. All your valuables into the bag here, and nobody gets hurt. And that is our DM setup. And I'm gonna open my eye. So, yeah. Yeah. So, basically, you guys are in, you know, small inn tavern that's kind of off the beaten path. It's just your party, really. You know, whenever bandits decide to break in. What do you decide to do with that? You know? Well, I have what my party will decide to do, and I will get back to you with that in a few minutes. Because I gotta record everything and I gotta figure out all my notes and stuff, so give me 1 second. Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2. Basically, the actual session. Like I said, this is my trial campaign. I'm running through these with my trial party, and I just wanted to go over how my team decided to go through with it, because maybe you'll draw some inspiration for, you know, whether you're a player, how to play through some things, or as a DM, some of the things you may have to deal with and encounter. And also just some other random general ideas. This is 5 pages of notes, including at least 1 combat, so yeah, I'm going to try and be quick about this. Whenever I get to combat, I'll show my combat order, my basic map, basically just outlining where everybody was. Like, trust me, it's crude, but that's fine. But yeah, and then also any references that I make to the books, you know, for stat blocks and such, because that information may be useful to you, the players, etc. And also, in the future, whenever I make any changes or modifications to said stat blocks, like, oh hey, this creature normally doesn't have this ability, but I wanted to give it to them because it seemed fitting. So without further adu, ladies and gentlemen, let us start session 0. The Barnroom Brawl. Alright, so, you know, where we last left off, the bandit had broken in, had busted down the door, and was, you know, like, alright, give me all your gold and jewels and valuables. And also, really quick, you know, whenever I'm different characters, I'll put off to the side or above my head, like, who's talking, just so we know for reference. You know, Fang. As I was standing already, I walked forward to the gentleman with the sack. Mo just smirks. Well, looks like we have a volunteer. Alright, Scaly, put your stuff in the bag. Move along. I got more to collect. Now, I smiled politely at the man, turning slightly as if... to reach for my coin purse when I smack him upside the head with a backhand. Nice, all out. Give me a roll for that, an unarmed attack. The result was an 18, plus 5 to hit, for 23, and a total of 4 damage. Just putting in for reference, just so you guys know what happened. Alright, well, Mo was chuckling to himself, so your shot catches him on the cheek. You know, smacks his head, dazed, he stumbles back toward the door. Dropped a couple of hit points, obviously. He seems a bit concerned about the direction of this, and he, you know, goes not quite out the door, but like standing in the doorway, you know, he turns around. You know, he says, "You want to fight? Meet me outside, freak." He then rushes out of the room. You know, party just like, oh, you know, just mumbling among themselves. You know, Fang holds up a hand. Stay here. I'll take care of this. And then she moves toward the door. You know, Darb looks at Fang as she walks out the door, then back to the others. You know, I'm trying to put on a brave face. You know, oh, I'll go back her up. You all stay here. You know, Ash just rolls her eyes at that. I don't like the man, and I certainly don't trust him. Daedric nodded. We'll all go. Bren, you stay here, and apologies for the trouble. Bren, you know, the barkeep, farmer, you know. Right, be careful, lot. I haven't seen their like before, and I don't know what to expect now. Cut to outside. Alright, we move outside. Fang exits the doorway to find the bandit near a small gate near the road. Standing before him are 5 bandits with swords, clubs, and other weapons on their person. The captain smirks at her. Well, you came out. Good for you. Or, I guess not. What with me and the boys being out here. If you apologize, things won't have to get ugly. Fang meets him stare for stare. That's not happening. You and your men will leave this place or you'll face my wrath. And I'm quite hungry. Then for emphasis, she shoots flame out of her nostrils. I'm going to roll for intimidation on that one. Again, I like that. I thought it was cool. 18 plus 3 for a total of 21. Alright, and then me, the DM, because she's intimidating a group, I just decided I'd see like how it went. So I'm just going to roll d20 and we'll just see what we get from that. I rolled a 3. So, so the bandits take a small step back because of the fire breathing. One says, screw this, and runs away to the west, or the east, I believe. A second is just frozen in fear, and the other 3 just stare at you wide-eyed as if realizing how badly they messed up. Your friends come out to join you. And Mo, the captain, he's just trying to be like, that doesn't matter to me. Darb just steps out, again, trying to be brave and cool. Hope you didn't start without us. And he strums lightly on his harp, giving Fang bardic inspiration. And then just for a little bit of flavor, it's not visible to anyone else, but Fang, as you hear the notes, you feel a small touch of adrenaline enter your system. And you feel more confident for the next 10 minutes. At least for, 1 or 2, an action. Ash, I look to the goat statue that sits close to the door and say, Defendor, activate. Combat mode, engage. And I like that idea. I didn't establish it beforehand, but yeah. You all hear a release of steam and note a metallic goat moving as if waking from sleep, its eyes open. You hear an audible gasp from one of the bandits. Shut up! Mo, the captain says with an angry snarl, glaring at Fang. Another bandit just throws down his weapons and runs away. One fled to the west, one fled to the east. So yeah, with all that out of the way, we can just roll initiative. And I'm going to make a quick cut here, because I'll just put up on screen, basically, how the turn order went. And also one quick thing that I came across with this. Basically, I had a tie in a couple instances, for the hero side and the villain side, and basically what I did was just, okay, you roll, and then whoever, gets the higher number wins. Simple enough. Again, just trying to point out some of those new rulings that I make for, small, minor things. So, yeah. I'll make a quick cut for the initiative order, and then my quick, crude map of the battlefield. I know it's crude. This is my first session. I can do better in the future, but obviously this is very early, and this is just very alpha stuff for this. So, yeah.
Alright, this is just the combat order sheet. At the top I have the roles for each character, and then at the very bottom I have the turn order. I separated each group, by hero and villains, just for clarity's sake, and then the bottom is everything mixed together. Again, just for my own clarity, something good to note. Here we have the map of the battlefield. Basically, at the top, we have the road. Then we have Mo, the bandit captain. Larry, Curly, and Shemp, his henchmen. Then our party, Dadecker on the left across from Larry. Fang and Darb across from Curly. And Defendor and Ash across from Shemp. Then we have the house and Bren within the house. Again, just to give some reference as to where everyone is. Honestly, because I'm new, I was kind of relying more on mind's eye for this stuff. But, some graphical reference is nice for everyone to have. So here it is.
So, Ash was first up. I take out my pistol and I shoot at the guy in front of me, which is Shemp. 7 plus 2 to hit. And you miss. So, basically the shot hits the ground next to him, knocking some dirt and grass up. It happens. Bandit Captain Mo. I'm going to hold my action. Fang. I activate Rage first and rush forward swinging my Great Axe. I'm furious and want to end this quickly. So, roll. 15 plus 5, 20 to hit, for a total of 9 damage against Curly. Mo's eyes open wide in shock and horror as you rush into Curly, who stands in front of him. Uh-oh, this is bad. I'm going to try the voice again. Uh-oh, this is bad. Shemp's turn. Ash shot at him, so he's a bit worried about that. And the goat in between you two, and the goat in between the two of them. So he pulls out his light crossbow and fires at Defendor. Rolls 8 plus 3, a miss. The shot goes wide, sticking into the side of the house. Curly's turn. He growls and mutters angrily before rushing at you with his scimitar. You big bully, take this! A 1. So for this one, he missed, and he fell, down to the ground on Fang's left side now. Just so he's, prone, out of the way for a minute. And then Mo says, "Stupid moron! Alright, let's go, Dragon Lady. I got something for you." And really quick, I made a small mistake here. I went through this first combat round. I realized Mo hadn't gone yet. And I didn't want to, have Mo go essentially twice. So I stuck his move in between Curly's move and Larry's move. So, my apologies for that. Hopefully I will remember it in the future not to make that small mistake. Anyway, Mo says, "Alright, Dragon Lady, let's go. I got something for you." Bandit captains apparently have multi-attack. So 2 attacks with their scimitar and 1 with their dagger. He rolled a nat 20. A total of 21 points for the second scimitar attack. And then the dagger also hit. So, yeah. That was a total of 9, 8, and 6 damage, which is 23. But because she was in a rage, that is halved down to 11. Which, yeah, I was very appreciative of that. Anyway, moving forward. Data Editor, the Domain of Light Cleric, goes for his action. "It is my hope that you will see the light and give up this life of crime." I cast Scorching Ray. I point my finger and 3 rays of light shoot out. He was targeting Larry, which he hit, Mo, which he hit, and Shemp, which he hit, for 3, 3, and 5 damage respectively. Basically, whenever I did this, I said, "Okay, tell me who you're calling out." We'll do it in order. 1, 2, 3. And then, whenever we established who was damaged, 1, 2, 3 again. You tell me who you are going for before you roll the damage. Anyway, moving on to Larry's turn now. Larry, "Why I oughta," and he rushes toward Dadecker with his scimitar, and he hits him for 3 damage. Darb's turn now. I'm going to knock out Curly with the butt of my rapier. Hit him for 6 damage. So, basically just hit him with the butt of it, and dude just went out like a light. And then it's Defendor's turn. Target identified. Bandit. He paused the ground, ready to rush, and ran into him. I used Force Empowered Rend, which is one of the actions of Steel Defenders. And basically, I just, took it as, the goat going to ram the guy. So, he missed, rushes forward, and basically just went past him and is behind him. So, here's Shemp, here's Defendor. So yeah, there's no one between Shemp and Ash now. Hopefully that makes sense. I know, we're getting there. Right. So, Mo, sensing things aren't going well, reaches into his coat and pulls out a magic item. A necklace of fireball. To hell with this, he says. Concentrating, one of the orbs on the necklace glows a bright orange. Suddenly a ball of fire flies out and heads toward the house. Fang and Darb were ready to dodge, but that's not what he was going for. Don't worry about a dex. Don't worry about a dex check. The attack hits through the building and flames erupt from it. He disengages from you and runs out of the yard and across the road. He doesn't want to stick around and uses the fireball as a distraction. So, you know, like, he ran out the gate, and then he ran, you know, as far as he could, down the road to, let's say, the west. Yeah. You know, Fang, still in a rage. You know, I rush forward to catch him. Get back here, I snarl. And I blast a jet of flame with my flame breath. With that, he makes a DC 11 dex save to avoid this, and he legit got a nat 1. So for this one, I doubled the damage. You know, like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna dodge, and basically just comedically, his pants were set on fire whenever he got caught in the fire. And then Fang also went for a frenzy attack with her great axe for 8 damage. Basically, that's just another bonus attack that you can take when in a frenzy. So yeah, I believe it's a 1 bonus melee attack while in frenzy, which I was taking as raging per turn. If anyone wants to correct me on that, feel free, please, because I wasn't 100% on that one, to be honest with you. Anyway, Shemp's turn now. Hey, wait for me! Sorry, I changed the voice. Shemp goes to run off. Because he's an amateur, he doesn't have disengage, so Defendor is able to land an attack of opportunity. 3 damage. You know, Dadecker. Dadecker's turn now. Hold him off. I'm going to save Bren. He rushes into the building and off of the battlefield. Larry, taking advantage of the situation, decides to run off as well. Also towards the west, like Mo. And also after Fang. You know, Darb looks after Larry. Darb looks after Larry, Mo, and Fang as they run off. Then back to the building. You know, Ash calls out, you know, back her up. I will help Dadecker. Defendor, help Darb. Protect Fang. Dadecker nods. Got it. Stay safe. He has a small salute and rushes off after the others. And that is the end of the combat. So, moving on to what happened next. Basically, split the party up a little bit. And here are just a couple of quick scenes that happened after that. Alright, I split the party, and the first scene that I covered was Fang and Darb. And basically, they're dealing with Larry and Mo. Fang, you're pursuing Mo, so do you want to continue or break off the chase? Fang. I'm not letting him get away. I'm not letting him get away. He's going to pay for the attack. Alright, we're going to roll a contested athletics check to see how well you keep up with Mo. Mo rolled a 13, and Fang, because she had advantage on a strength check, rolled a 15. So you're right on his tail. He can literally feel your flaming breath heating the air behind him. In a panic, he reaches into his coat for something. He produces something you can't quite see and throws it on the ground behind him. Suddenly in front of you is a pair of dogs snarling. Now, Fang, without missing a beat, I swing my axe at the dogs to knock them away. You rolled a 7, though, so you missed. You swing your axe hard, and you miss the dog, who doesn't seem to react at all to the shot, still growling at you. Give me a perception check. 12 minus 1 for 11. So, you don't hear anything from the dogs as they stare you down. As you grip your axe in hand, one of the bandits rushes past you and passes through the wolves as if they were an illusion. Before you can react, Defendor rushes up, you know, stopping just short of you with Darb not far behind. Defendor. Are you safe, Fang? Sorry. Are you safe, Fang? He asks. Darb, hold up a hand. Yeah, you know, just need a sec. Not built for running long distance. Now, Fang growls, then turns to try and find the bandits, but they seem to have run off into the woods. You know, basically just like a small group of trees nearby off the side of the road. Damn it! She yells. You know, I hang back for a second before saying, we need to go back. We have to save Bren and stop the fire if we can. Fang frowns after the bandits and then picks up the coin. Right, let's go. The trio set off. And basically, you know, that's just a small copper piece. That I is something that I kind of just made up. Basically, I'm calling that like a coin of minor illusion. Like, oh hey, just throw this thing down and you can magically create an illusion of whatever the heck you want. Basically, it's kind of a ripoff of the necklace of Fireball, or whatever the heck that was, which I got from one of the campaign books, which I will put in my final notes for the final part of this video, but yeah. We have other things to attend to, like the Daydecker and Ash scene. Daydecker rushed into the building when he sees someone moving. Can't quite tell from the smoke, but it seems to be Bren. Bren, over here, the house is on fire. The figure turns. What? He sounds different, not like Bren. The figure rushes past and into the night. It was another bandit. Daydecker didn't care, though. He continued to search for Bren, calling out to him. The figure almost ran Ash over as he ran out of the building. Daydecker, Bren! She covers her mouth with her sleeve and moves in because of smoke and fire and such. Daydecker rushes into the kitchen area to find Bren on the ground, unconscious, a wooden club nearby, and a small pool of blood near his head. Basically, he was knocked out. I kneel next to him and cast Healing Word. Come on, wake up. I won't make you roll healing for this. This was just a plot convenient hit to knock him out. He does wake up and look around confused. What happened? Daydecker. No time to explain. We have to go now. Brent could tell he was quite serious and didn't argue. Also, he could hear the crackling fire and smell the smoke. Ash, you find them in the kitchen. And Daydecker smiles. Thanks, Ash. We need to go. Lead us back out, quickly. She nods. Being the shortest, the smoke is well over her head, and Daydecker's acting as kind of like a support for Bren, because obviously he just took a blow to the head, he may have a concussion, etc., etc. So yeah, just trying to paint like an image for you guys. Alright. Give me a d20 check to see how lucky you are. You're in a burning building and have to get back out. You rolled an 8 and a 1. They make their way through the small living area and are feet from the door when the ceiling groans and gives way. Several heavy pieces fall, blocking the doorway now. Daydecker pulled Ash out of harm's way. Bren, back door? Bren shook his head. We have the windows and one out of the kitchen, but no door. So basically, that just random D20 roll was just a luck thing. I didn't have any modifiers for it. But that might come up, in certain scenarios, like, oh, hey, burning building, or, I don't know, chase, or something like that. Like, I don't know, just something I'm kind of toying with right now. Maybe a thing, may not be. But anyway, back to Darb and Fang. You're able to return to the house quickly. Things look bad as the roof is burning brightly, and you can hear it crackle loudly, lighting up the area. You don't see the others. And also, you note that Curly is now missing. He was left unconscious. I'm just going to say the bandit picked him up. Again, this was one of those things that I didn't address before, and I'm addressing now, because I'm not perfect. And I caught this in my notes. Right. Fang. Check the building. They may need an exit. Darb nodded, rushing forward. He called out, and then I had him give me a perception check, and he rolled a 3. So he didn't get the impression that anyone was inside. Maybe they made it out. Which kind of put me, the DM, in a pickle. Daydecker inside the building can see the others, but can't yell loud enough for them to hear. Wait. I cast Thaumaturgy to make the sound of thunder just outside the building. Fang looks on. Obviously the sound is heard. That's weird because, while it is cloudy, it's not like there's no lightning with it. So something weird's going on. So obviously now they're paying attention to the burning building. More seriously, like, oh crap, people are still inside. We got to get in there. Or like, they just noticed somebody inside after that. Whatever. Again, I'm not 100% at this. Fang looks on and then prepares to rush forward, when Darb steps in. You know, Fang, move, boy. We have to save them. And Darb looks at her in the eyes. Stand back. I got a plan. And cover your ears. And Darb's plan here, you know, is a couple cool moves that I liked. And sorry, kind of takes like a leading hero role in this one. It's just what I thought of. Anyway, Darb. I go to cast Shatter on the door to break up the wooden pieces blocking it. Pulling out my pan flute, you know, he blows into it hard. Basically just trying to hit a really high note. But yeah, you can see wood pieces splinter and explode around the door frame, but it's not clear enough to pass through. Yeah, like... So, you know, Darb like, crap. And then he has another idea. I hope this works. You know, he mumbled, reaching for his loot. He strums rapidly, and he activates Thunder Wave. With the final stroke of the lute, a wave of thunder blasts outward, you know, shoving all the timber and stone out of the doorway. Move, move, move! He yells. You know, Ash and Dadeck are back inside. You hear a loud sound from outside when suddenly the door seems to explode in a shower of splinters and small stone. Dadecker moves to look out the door, then dives back out of the way, pulling Ash and Bren down as wood and stone are pushed inward. Because Thunder Wave pushes things, it's either 10 or 15 feet roughly. So yeah, Darb had to get like right outside the door and blast it. Again, kind of a cool move. Yeah. You know, pulls them out of the way as the stone and wood is blasted inward. Move, move, move! You know, Darb yelled from just outside the door. He held out a hand to grab whoever came to it, and Fang was on the other side. You know, basically, obviously it's hot and it hurts, but, you know, that little extra bit of help might come in handy. The trio rush for the door and hear the groan of the roof and second floor, you know, as the beams start to burn. They barely escape a falling piece of timber. A falling piece of timber falls, and, you know, it looks like it's a good-sized piece that's going to smash Bren. But, you know, Fang leaned in and basically took the shot, like, across her back and shoulders. Because I think with that was where the, you know, luck check from earlier was. You know, Darb and Fang quickly guide everyone, you know, safe distance out as the roof gives and falls inward. You know, Bren stares solemnly as the fire consumes his home. A crack of thunder breaks the sky and the group look up. Rain starts to fall, quickly picking up. They can hear the sizzle as the water meets fire, and after a few minutes, the fire seems to be out. The group rush to Bren's workshed, closing the door behind them. Again, this was just, oh hey, Deus Ex Machina, like, oh crap, there's a fire here, and I want to address it, but nobody really had any, like, fire putting out spells, as far as I could tell. So, oh hey, nature saved the day. Also, dealing with a fire is crazy and complicated. I'm gonna stop there because, you know, there's a quick scene in the shed. You know, basically, after they get in, Dadecker and Ash check over Fang, you know, because of the falling timber, the burns, and the blunt damage from that. You know, and they heal her up really quick. You know, like, and again, this is something that's not in my description. I'm just adding it here because, again, nice world building and flavor stuff. You know, Dadecker, you know, just puts a hand on her shoulder, like, thank you for protecting us. You know, and Fang, obviously a bit visibly uncomfortable, just, you know, nods her head, like, you know, it's the right thing to do. You know, and Dadecker nods at that, and, you know, Ash, you know, just, you know, just squeezes her hand politely, like, if you ever need anything, kind of like, we'll watch out for you. Anyway, you know, Bren, who's just, you know, at one of the windows of the shed, just staring out at the house, you know, hopefully the rain will douse the flames. He said, you know, just leaning on the sill. Then, you know, solemnly he turned around to face the party. I guess we'll be leaving the farm. If you'll escort me, my daughter lives in the city. At the least, you'll all have a place to stay and perhaps can get more work. You all did quite well out there. And then, you know, the party just looks around at one another, you know, like, you know, considering their odd companions. You know, Darb is the first to speak. I wouldn't mind the company, and y'all seem pretty cool. You know, Dadecker. You know, I see the light within each of you, and I wish to bask in it, if you'll allow me. And then Ash, you know, makes her comments. You know, no one's really recorded much on orcs or dragonborn, and I can't really let that chance pass me by. So yeah, I want to stick with you too. And then, you know, Fang just, you know, near the door still, looks at everyone who's just, you know, staring at her, like, expectantly. You know, and she mulls it over for a few seconds, you know, really thinking about it, and then finally says, you know, I could use some company. I've been alone a long time, and as a job pays. And, we'll get into more stuff in, session 0.5. After this, I just wanted to have that little bit of world building. The group laid down. Fang took the first watch, in case, you know, bandits returned, and Darb offered to take up the second watch, you know, and he did a couple hours later. Basically, I'm just covering my bases up, in case there's trouble. I didn't roll anything for this, it just felt like the fitting thing to do. But anyway, the final scene the next morning. The night was uneventful, no bandits, and the fire seemed to be out. Again, that's just me saying, hey, there's no fire, there's no long-lasting damage. You know, Bren went back to the house, you know, and basically just dug through the rubble. You know, just seeing if there's anything he could salvage from the house. You know, he got, you know, some coin, you know, and some food supplies, but, you know, and a few other more personal items. And again, this is more just flavor building for this, but, you know, after some time and with a little help, he found a small picture frame, you know, with a portrait of his family. You know, it's time to go, he said sadly, stroking the picture. He pocketed the piece and met with the others. Right. If we want to reach the city, we'll head west and to the north. We'll be there in a few days, and I believe there's another village along the way. We should warn them about the bandits. The party nodded, hitching their packs. They started to walk along the road. End of session 0. So, yeah. So that was basically, you know, just my quick playthrough of the actual session 0 session. So I'm going to talk about, like, I guess just final thoughts from me, the DM, and just some of the other cool stuff that I picked up by playing through a couple other classes that I haven't even touched yet. You know, Cleric, Artificer, Battlesmith, and Barbarian. So, give me 1 second, and also I'll address any of the other odds and ends, like references and such, that I pulled from the book, and also some potential future ideas that I have going into, you know, the next session, and all of that. So, if you will give me 1 second. Session recap. Again, basically just the personal thoughts that I, as the DM, took from this. Again, because this is just chronicling my journey as a new DM. And also, you know, just some stuff that I learned playing around with a few new classes that I was curious to check out. Well, first off, really quick, just a couple of references to different things that I borrowed from. For the stat blocks for bandits and the bandit captain, I checked out the monster manual. Page 343 and 344 cover bandits and bandit captains. And an interesting thing that I picked up from that was there's definitely a big difference between a bandit and a bandit captain. Okay? Bandits are ranked 1/8 for challenge, and the challenge rating for a bandit captain is 2 or 3, I believe. Bandits have 11 health, 11 AC, roughly. Bandit captains have 65 HP and 15 AC. So yeah, just for something to note that's interesting. And then also really quick, I did make reference to borrowing from, what the heck was the book? I'll put it in text basically next week, but basically it was one of the Waterdeep books. It was the 3rd or 4th chapter, I believe. They make reference to the Necklace of Fireball. And honestly, so yeah, so that's all the like technical stuff that I got from the books. As for the thoughts behind this mission in particular, number one, like I said, like I think I may have said, but I'll state it again here clearly, is that, the tavern thing is, is a pretty common meeting thing for new parties. This was, a small farmhouse with just the party. That way you can set outside of the city, because that gives you some more options. You can go, oh hey, we heard a rumor about dungeon here, or setting off for the big city, or just some other things. And also, a bandit attack, means that it's kind of on you guys to deal with it. You can't just go, okay, we'll just hold out until the guards show up. So that's another thing. And then also, like, this is the start of the superhero movies, like, I want you guys to show that you're not just some random group of people. Like, you guys are tough, and you can kick butt, and you can handle things. So the fight, in theory, should hopefully be a bit easier for you to take on. And I hope it is, and I think it went well enough here. So that was just the idea behind that. It's just, oh hey, you guys aren't just, a bunch of farmers. Like, you're adventurers. You're going to run into bandits. You're going to run into other stuff. And this was just a quick test of, like, okay, how do you handle that? What are you going to do? The barbarian raged, the cleric of Domain of Light. Well, apparently they have cool things like Scorching Ray, which I really like. Basically, you can hit 3 targets for 2d6, max damage, or you can hit like 1 target multiple times. Which, oh my god, I love that. It's so cool. And then just playing around with the Battlesmith, the Steel Defender. Again, it was cool. Bard, I obviously know pretty well, and Barbarian is just another class that I have an interest in. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Trying to think of what else I really got from this. In my downtime, I've been thinking about, the bandit group. I talked about this on Facebook, but I'll say it here as well. They are basically just a ripoff of the Three Stooges. To keep them legally distinct, just so I don't get sued, I'll come up with a different name for them, because also there are 4 of them. Mo, Larry, Curly, and Shemp. So I'll have to change those names. But like with leaving them alive, I also may use them a couple times, throughout each season. Basically like, oh hey, they're the Team Rocket, or I guess this Team Rocket's the best metaphor. The goofy villains, who try and impede our heroes, but basically get their butts kicked. And they will grow, and they will become more of a challenge. And I like the idea of them, potentially being like a legit rival to the group, but also just more of a, oh hey, we just want to have a light, fun time. So that's why I'm keeping them in my back pocket. They're not going to show up every episode, but, a couple times throughout the season, maybe if I have no ideas for good bad guys, I'll use them and we'll go from there. But yeah. And this being the first session that I've DM'd at all, just for myself, oh my gosh, like there was a whole lot to keep track of and account for and figure out and just address. Like I said, I made a couple mistakes in there. Mo holding his action until the end and then having to decide, oh crap, where am I going to squeeze this in? And, just some of the, flavor stuff to make sure things didn't go too poorly, like the building burning down, and stopping the fire from spreading, etc. And I think it's okay to do some things like that sometimes, especially in the beginning. Just, have a plan. On that, I'm not sure what else there is really to say about it. Besides, it was a lot of fun, it was interesting, and honestly, I'm very much looking forward to my next session, which I'm going to call the 0.5 session, because that's just going to be more roleplay and character building, for myself, so I better know who these characters are, but also for you guys, so okay, obviously, Dadecker is a cleric, Darb is a bard, Ash is, an artificer, and Fang is a barbarian. But but there's more to them than just their class. Why are they out here? Why are they doing these things, etc. And I hope to at least get a few more brushstrokes in on that to show you guys, and also for myself, because I know Fang's story right now. I have some ideas on Darb's story. Ash, I just have some generic things, and Dadecker, again, some generic things. So hopefully I can come up with something and I can share that with you. But yeah, that is about it. So feel free to comment below about your thoughts on my first session. My session 0, the Barnroom Brawl. The notes and stuff. If I can find a good way to share them, like a Google Doc or something that I can just put out into the ether of the universe, I would like to do that. just so people can see it and read through it and go, maybe get some ideas from it. I've got some ideas from the sample campaign things that I've gotten. Basically the Waterdeep books for sure. And hey, maybe I can inspire somebody else with my own ideas. So with that said, everyone, I think that wraps it up basically. It was fun. I like doing it. I can't wait to... I want to get this done so I can move on to my next session with my role-playing and world-building stuff. And getting my party to be a more cohesive unit. Like, obviously they were pretty well in this first one because it's me playing both sides, and like, it makes it easier to do that. But yeah, just, I don't know, it's I'll make it work. At least I hope I will, believably. And I'm a storyteller, so I do this kind of thing all the time. But so that's it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for paying attention. I will notify my friends who were for sure interested when I talked about starting my own D&D campaign some time ago, like months or even a year or so ago, in case you guys are still interested, or just to get your opinions on the stuff. Like, a couple of you guys I know are more experienced D&D players, so you may have some thoughts on like, oh hey, why don't you do this in the future, or add that, or etc, etc, etc. I'm trying to learn and grow from this, and any thoughts and opinions and constructive criticism would be appreciated. So yeah, until next time, everyone, have fun, stay safe, keep hydrated, and of course remember, every character, DM, player, etc. has a story to tell. I am Valiant Bradley James, the new DM. Until next time.